Everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Northern Wall, your weekly talk show with me, your host, Kayla Malari. If this is your first time at Beyond the Northern Wall, Ayuboan and welcome. I'm here every week on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, talking about all things comic books and anime and video games and movies that have to do with core or are core related. This week, I have two very amazing guests. Usually it's me, but I'm not that fun to talk to by myself, so it's nice to have other people. This week I have my little, who for me is down here, and my sister, who for me is over here, and that's the same thing for you. So introducing first, down there is my little, her name on her Zoom says Melissa Luna. 1,000% nobody calls her that. Who's that? No one calls her that. We call her by her maiden last name because that's how we all met her. Urban. So if you hear me say Urban or most likely Little, I'm talking about her. There's so many nicknames. You don't have to know them. It's fine. But Little, introduce yourself. Say what your Hogwarts house is and what your history is with Harry Potter and all that jazz. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, they can't hear you. Oh, no. You know why? It's because of this. So everything you just said didn't get heard. It's because I have the headphones. Great. Sorry, guys.
This is the second time this has happened to me today.
Every time. I thought I fixed the output. Hold on. When you think you did something and you didn't do something. Oh, you know what? It's on here. It's on here. It's this. It's this. It's here. It's this. Hold on. I got this. Bruh. Go ahead. I think they can hear you through my mic, so you can go ahead and talk, and then I'm going to just fix it on my end.
Okay. Gonna redo everything I just said. All right, but I'll do it faster this time. I'm Melissa. I am a Slytherin. I have not read any of the Harry Potter books, but I've seen all the movies a bazillion times. I watch them every single Halloween to get me into the Halloween mood. And I started watching the movies first as they were coming out when they were like super popular. So yeah, that's my history with Harry Potter.
And I was about to ask you who your favorite character is, but we're actually going to talk about that later in the show. So thank you, Little. Now, over here is one of our newest members of CORE, my younger sister, Trixie. Trix, tell everyone who you are, what your house is, and your history with Harry Potter.
Hi, I'm Trixie. Like she just said, I am a Gryffindor, and my relationship with Harry Potter is that I am old. Do you see Xena? Did you watch Xena? That should age me. I was the group that was reading Harry Potter, and okay, I already was reading a lot. I already read stuff when I was young. I read a lot, but I was like the age group and the people like my friends around me also started reading like more because of Harry Potter. Like that was literally us. I am that. So I read all the books. I've seen all the movies. To be very honest, it's been a while, so I am scared for Sunday. But they do hold a very special place in my heart because, like, those stories meant a lot. Like, that amount of not just, like, adventure, but, like, friendship and, you know, all the stuff that the books and movies are about. Like, that meant a lot to me, and it definitely is a big part of my childhood. That's it.
Yes. And so comes to me, hello, I'm Kayla. For now, I'm not Hanji. I am Kayla. I am a Slytherin. Side anecdote, on my TikTok, I did post a TikTok that was a trend that said, based off of my stare, guess what house I'm in. People were like Hufflepuff or Gryffindor because they're like, you're wearing yellow on your shirt, or based off of your hair, or based off of your musicality, or based off of what you're wearing, or the way you're sitting. And I'm like, I love you all. You didn't read the assignment. It's not based off of anything but the stare. So I was a little mad. Only because I am a proud Slytherin. Yes, the argument can be made that based off of the test, I am a large portion Ravenclaw, but due to my ambitious nature, my pragmatic nature, and my choice to be in Slytherin house, which, if you remember, it's all about your choices, I am a proud Slytherin. I was going to say I'm an out and proud Slytherin because I wasn't. For the longest time, I was like, I'm a Gryffindor because I thought that's what you were supposed to be, as a Gryffindor.
Yes.
Because you're reading
I always thought I was a Gryffindor too until I took the test. And the first time I got Slytherin, and then the second time I got Hufflepuff because I love animals.
Oh, yeah. You do love animals.
Yeah.
So that's my history with Harry Potter. Obsessed. I didn't read it when the first two books came out. And then finally, I started reading it when the third book had just come out. I read the first two, hopped on the third. My best friend in elementary school ruined the third book for me. So unfortunately, I literally got it in my hands. And then spoiler, she literally yelled as I was holding the book, Sirius is the Godfather. Like, the whole point you read that book, she ruined it. And I was like, okay. So that's why everyone's like, the third book's my favorite. I'm like, it's not for me. But I was at after the third book, for the next 4 or 5, plus years, because there was that hiatus, I was at every midnight release of the book. And then I was at every midnight release of the movies. Every single one. Harry Potter was my life. You have to understand. That's how I identified. At a young age, when you have absolutely no identity, I identified with Star Wars, with Dragon Ball Z, and with Harry Potter. That was who I was. I had no, a personal opinion. My opinion circled around sensu beans and what would my best class and owl grade be if I was in Hogwarts. So that's it. For context, I know that both my parents are Gryffindors and my sister is a Hufflepuff. She's my emotional support Hufflepuff. So that should tell you what that is. So with that being said, clearly we are all Harry Potter fans in our own right. Now, before we get into the fun stuff, talking about Harry Potter, we're going to get the yucky stuff out of the way. Let's get the yuck out of the way. And what's the yuck? For those who know, there's been a whole lot of, I don't even want to say controversy, because I don't think controversy assumes that there's opposing sides. There's not really an opposing side. There's just the yuck side and everyone not liking the yuck. So that it's not even a controversy. It's just we don't like this. We all know that there's controversy surrounding J.K. Rowling in terms of her transphobic remarks. So for those who don't know, I did freshen up on it. The original tweets made by J.K. Rowling at the beginning of 2020 weren't necessarily transphobic. What it did was, in context, eliminate an entire demographic of women by saying that she read an article that said people who menstruate. And her response was, people who menstruate, there's a word for people like that. Is it women? Is it whom? Like making a joke out of it. It's like, oh, people who menstruate. Not like there's been a whole, gender identity for that exact thing. Of course, the problem is not all people who menstruate are women. Women are women. There's just women out there. And that brings into light. It's funny because people say it brings to light trans women. I'm like, well, what about the whole age group of women who don't menstruate that are over 50? They're also women. Just because you don't have a menstrual cycle does not make you not a woman. So, like, I don't know. So then people double down. They're like, are you saying trans women aren't women? So she responded at first saying, I believe in trans women. I support them, blah, blah, blah. And then continued to fall into what is unfortunately known as TERF, which is trans exclusionary radical feminism. Is that TERF? Yeah, TERFs. I didn't know what that term was. I saw it everywhere, and I was like, what the heck is a TERF? It's that. It's trans exclusionary radical feminism, which, I mean, we could talk about radical feminism on another thing, but that's a whole other thing. Saying that just because, while I support trans women, it doesn't negate what she as a woman has experienced in her life and blah, blah, blah. All it really sounded like was an excuse rather than, I understand that I shouldn't have said that and that's not what I meant, and then end. And she kept going. And then she wrote an article, like a whole essay. And it just got worse. At that point, you're like, bruh, what? Like, why? What? Stop. And that's where everything came out. All the actors of the Harry Potter films, all three of the Golden Trio, Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and I was going to say Hermione Granger. Her name is actually Emma Watson, but she's just Hermione. All spoke out against it. And so did Eddie Redmayne. And then there were some actors, which is unfortunate, it was Hagrid. Hagrid came out in support of J.K. Rowling. I know, just not like the greatest thing ever. And they were saying they do not agree with Rowling. They don't want to make it seem like they're just fighting her, but they're like, we don't believe that. We don't believe that trans women are women, which I was talking to Trix before this. It's weird. Trans women is women. They're just women. I don't even, they are trans, and I don't want to, take that away from them. But they're just women. Women are women. End of story. All women are women. Why is this an argument? But they all said, they were all talking about how they don't stand with Rowling, but they don't want that to take away from the experience people had with the Harry Potter books and the Harry Potter world, especially because the whole point of the world and the story is about someone who felt ostracized from society finding their place amongst their people. Wow, great. So that's the discussion right now. Can you separate the artist from the art they've created? And, there's so many different talks about it. So I wanted to let's throw it to Trix first. Because I don't think there's a general way you can go about this. I don't think you can be like, yes, no, and then apply it to every single situation where an artist has created controversy. So in this respect with J.K. Rowling, how do you feel about how she sucks, but how does she suck in your eyes? In that respect. Oh, you're muted, Trix. Oh, there we go.
Well, obviously it's Dookie. So, it sucks that happened. It is really difficult to separate artists from their art. And honestly, I think, how do I say this carefully? That is where your opinion can go and where you decide what's your limit. For me, J.K. Rowling, yeah, boo. Harry Potter, the books and stuff you made, I think that has its own life and I will forever love it. In my head, I'm everyone, all your characters, Dumbledore would be so ashamed of you. Those are my feelings. And then there's someone for me, like Chris Brown, who's more cut and dry, you're boo and I will never listen to your music. And I think that's where, it's up to you. I think so like that's that, right? I definitely feel like it shouldn't be. There should be no argument of whether or not, like, yeah, J.K. Rowling, you said really transphobic things and you made it worse. And we don't stand for transphobia. Like, we are for trans people. Like, that shouldn't be it. You know what I mean? Like, I can see people wanting to still love Harry Potter, and that's great. If they're like, no, and then they just become transphobic with her or stand with her, then I'm like, you're all dookie. Then you're all just dookie. But I understand, like, with the former, with separating the artists from their art, I really do feel like that's your own personal choices to make, because like because if you want to hardcore cancel people, like, and then all their art, you got to think about, like, okay, well, Harvey Weinstein did all these movies, right? And like he was the
worst.
He was the abuser, and he abused so many actors and stuff. And does that mean that we cancel all his movies? But then what does that mean for all the actors in those movies? You know what I mean? Like, it, and like, boo Harvey Weinstein, by the way, like, just to make that clear, cancel that fool.
Yeah.
Ever. But it, you know, you should get to make your choices, because it is difficult. Yeah, I agree with Kayla. You can't just like have such a black and white stance and just apply it to everything, because it's different and it's gonna be different. And I think it's okay that, again, that we might disagree on where our levels of like being able to discern the artist from the art, but we should all be in agreement that being transphobic is bad. Like, that's it.
Yes.
That's it. That's all I have to say.
No, that is, wow, that was perfect. Little, your opinion on it, especially because, you know what's funny? Little is like the most straightforward person, but also the most understanding person, which is like, what a weird clash of things. She's a Gemini. It all makes sense. But yeah, how do you feel about this whole shenanigan?
Yes, okay. Everything to what Trixie said, yes. I think there's a couple points you made where it's like, with the movies, like, there's actors and producers and so many more people that went into producing everything. That's like, it's hard to just cancel something that it's like all these people put in so much work into. But it's like, you know, with Chris Brown, like, yeah, he made a couple songs, like, that's easier to like cancel, like, I'm gonna boycott his music just because it's like just him. But I think it also depends on like the level of harm that creators do, because like J.K. Rowling, yes, she said harmful things, but that's all she did. She was just an internet troll for like a hot minute. You know, she didn't like physically or like sexually or like, you know, harm anybody. So I feel like it's not that it's okay to be more lenient, but it's kind of like, you know, jail time. Like, if someone kills someone, yeah, you're in jail, you know, for life. But if you like just stole a car, like, yeah, that was bad, but like, you'll pay your fine, maybe get a little bit of jail time, you know. So I feel like it's kind of like that, like, yeah, what she did is bad, we could still like not support her, but in terms of her art, like, since it wasn't anything like completely like the worst thing ever, then it's like, you know, it's okay to still have this love for something that we all cherish.
I actually really agree with you on the sense where people hate gatekeepers, I'm going to say, hate that, where there's a level of understanding that fluctuates depending on the situation. A lot of people say, no, someone did something bad, and so you hit them hard. And I say this knowing that Core has had to deal with that. We've had misunderstandings of messages before, like straight misunderstandings. We know what we stand for. We stand for inclusion, just like as an umbrella statement. And people have misinterpreted what we've like put out there, and really, and have like aggressively called us out on things that we were like, oh, we didn't, not even that we didn't know. It's like a derivative of a derivative, and then we're getting targeted for something that we kind of also didn't have control of, because their original I guess conflict is with something else that was kind of out of our hands. So we can come forward and be like, oh yes, we understand where that was wrong, and we've always fixed it. And it's weird because then the response comes back like, well, it's a good thing because I had people that wanted to like just bash you guys and call you out on social media. And I'm like, wait, but why? Like, it was something and I'm honestly telling you, it's something really far removed. That wasn't even the focus of what we were saying. And I was like, what would that have done if you had just bashed us when it was, like, I can't even say it was a misunderstanding, because that is even exacerbating it to a higher level. And that's what I'm saying, like, gatekeeping to that extent, to just bash and bash and bash without any sort of looking for a solution, is so bad. So there are some people that are just like, cancel with, like, prejudice J.K. Rowling. Go ahead, Trix.
I am so okay. So I am so for accountability culture.
Yes.
And in my head, that's what cancel culture was first. And now, unfortunately, and I don't know, part of me blames the internet and, you know, the fact that trolls live, that trolls are going to troll everywhere in every aspect. You know, blames that. Accountability, like, okay, I just feel like in general, if you want things to change, yes, there are definitely people who should be canceled. Again, Harvey Weinstein, that's like so canceled, that dude. Boo, boo, dookie all over his face, dude. With things that are not so clear, or where things that can be fixed, like, fix them, like, hold people accountable, like, please hold people accountable, but don't just, like, straight up cancel them, especially, like, I know core is just core, right? But let's say, like, let's bring it to, like, a bigger something. I'm just gonna say Disney, just because, like, that's in my mind right now, right?
Easy.
Like, if Disney does something, like, they hella be, right? They should be super held accountable. And also we should realize accountability, not just canceling, is important, because Disney, truthfully, does not have to give a crap about what anyone thinks. That's how much money and power and influence they have. I personally am not a big fan of capitalism or our capitalist society, and that's, like, my whole thing. But I also know I live in a capitalist society. I can't just cancel capitalism. Like, I can, for myself, in my mind and my heart, be like, I don't like any of this, but I live in it. And, like, I don't think I could even get away from it, even if I moved away from the US.
Yep.
So, because I know that, I can't just, like, cancel capitalism or cancel Disney. That would even be, like, effective. So the most I could do is hold them accountable as much as I can, with hopefully other people. And, you know, like, hold them accountable, give change, but don't just say, like, boo, cancel this, because if you cancel everything, a lot of the time I feel like you're not actually changing anything. If we all just cancel Disney, guess what? We're all not canceling Disney. A portion of us will cancel Disney, and then all these other people who aren't even trying to hold them accountable will just keep funding them anyways. And then they really have no motivation to change.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if that's the example. So, like, and with people who get really trolly with, like kind of, like, threaten, like, I hate that happened, because it just sounded like someone was threatening you. Like, what was that about? And also, like, I mean, I love you guys, I love us, but really, like, you're a cosplay dancer, like, that's the hill, like, this is the hill you're gonna die on? Like, what?
It's really finding where your battles are. And it's kind of what you both said. There's, like, yes, cancel Harvey Weinstein. Terrible person. But like you said, just like with J.K. Rowling's world, you got to think of all the things that the Harry Potter world has influenced. The actors that have stood for so many great things and how they've benefited from it. Down to the individual artists in the fandom. The fandom has taken the world of Harry Potter and flourished under it. So many artists create amazing things. Like, if you need any examples, go on Potter Talk. The amazing world that they've created. And done so and that's the beauty and the wonder of it. It happens with Game of Thrones. It's completely taken out of George R.R. Martin's hands. Same with Lord of the Rings. You can, even if you like the authors, they've kind of created these own worlds out of them, and there's all these things that have come from it. And so, like Nifa was saying in the chat, the complexity of it has to be shades of gray. if you're gonna read that dang book, know that it pertains to everything. There are more than 50 shades of gray in the world. There are 100 million shades of gray. And so you have to, like, I support Daniel Radcliffe, who is an adamant supporter of the Trevor Project. And if you want to know what the Trevor Project is, I'll also add that link in at the end. Trevor Project, Emma Watson stands for, I think it was Mermaid. Oh, God, I forget what it's called. Mermaid genders, something like that. Where, like, all these amazing actors who came out of the Harry Potter universe have gone on to do amazing charitable events, amazing art in general. And so are they just like, you can't just say, oh yeah, no, cancel, because then, like Trix said, you have to cancel everything. And what does canceling do? It is unfortunately part of what the internet has started to associate with what woke culture is, which is nothing. And accountability is all I've seen the community and the fandom of Harry Potter do. I have not met someone who loves Harry Potter who's like, I stand with J.K. Rowling. No, they've held her accountable saying, she's wrong. So it's like what Little said. You got to look at the context of it. What is it? What has she done? Well, she said something terrible and no one agrees with her. That's great. Good job, world. Like, you did it. Like, what a great way to go about it. As opposed to someone like Harvey Weinstein, who did terrible things and people went along with it for decades and years. Like, that's a completely different case altogether. So in my perspective, after she came out with all that stuff, I didn't support her other novels. She also did this whole side anecdote, talked about like, oh, you know, I've done research on the trans community and I'm including a trans character in one of my books. No, she did not. She wrote a terrible version of a drag queen that didn't understand yeah, it is really bad. You guys just don't support any of her writing afterwards. It's all bad. That's all bad, which is great because no one disagrees with that. No one disagrees. That's all bad. So good job, world. You did it, Harry Potter fandom. You did Dumbledore proud, and that's what we're going to say about that. Trans rights, it's not even a discussion. Yes, women are women and men are men. Women are women and men are men. And humans deserve rights. That's all you really, at the end of the day, that's all you really need to know. Now, wizards and muggles, that's a whole different conversation. So, moving on from there, let's get into the fun Harry Potter stuff. Now, why are we talking about Harry Potter at all? Well, if you're a patron, you know that we're talking about Harry Potter stuff because this Sunday, it's about to go down. We're about to throw it down, downtown, turn that smile into a frown because it's about to go down. The battle of the Hogwarts houses is happening. Corpsmen and patrons are banding together, representing their house colors in the ultimate trivia battle this Sunday. So if you want to join, I'm going to throw this up right now. Oops. That's not going to work. Hold on. Give me 2.5 seconds. Oh, did it again. Dang it. I don't like this window capture thing. It's not doing me any favors. But hold on. Wait a minute. Let me put some groove in it. What's-ka-ba? That didn't help me. What's-ka-ba? Did that work?
I need more Gryffindors to help me.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of Gryffindors. There's a buttload of Slytherins. If you want to join this Sunday, become a patron. I don't even know. Can you see? Oh, you can see it. Become a patron. Sorry, Trix. It's totally covering your face right now. Patrons you can become a patron for as low as $2 a month and as high as $10. But you get a lot of special exclusives. We talk to you about our sets. You get content before everyone else does. Sometimes get content before the rest of the Corpsmen do. And it's really great. Also, speaking of patrons, they're probably the most supportive and loving community out there. It's really great. Shout out to Rocky. Rocky out and down under is probably one of our longtime patron. Rocky is just the boss. Quite literally. The boss. Just just all around the best human being in the world. So Rocky, if you're out there, know that you're the best. Yeah? Cool beans. I'm trying to fix my thing so I'm not blocking us. Did I fix it? Oh, no! Okay, here we go. Okay, so if you want to join in the throwdown of the century, it's not the throwdown of the century, probably the throwdown of the next week, come join us on Patreon, and you can join in the Battle of the Hogwarts houses. Right now we had all the patrons tell us their houses. There's like 1,000 Slytherins, which also...
All the Slytherins!
There's a lot of Slytherins, which, I mean... It's because, to be quite honest, I feel it for the Slytherins. Way back in the day, when they're like, Slytherin's evil, you felt like you couldn't be a Slytherin. No one could be a Slytherin. They're like, it literally was discrimination. They're like, Slytherin, that means you're bad. You're the bad guys. You're Death Eaters. And I'm like, bruh, okay, like Draco and Crabbe and Goyle sucked all of Harry's years. But what were the other Slytherins doing? Watch the movies. They're doing their homework in the back. They were working really hard. They were following the rules to get points all year. And at the end of the year, the Gryffindors broke the rules, got more points, and won. What does that teach you? Don't follow the rules. What kind of lesson is that?
Don't follow the rules, but just look like you're nicer, and it will pay off, apparently.
But honestly, it was like they followed the rules, but they were also really discriminatory against other people. So, don't be those kind of Slytherins, because that's going to bite you in the butt. Hufflepuffs were just doing their best. They had Cedric Diggory, which, by the way, so many people are like, Cedric. Cedric should have done the Hufflepuff route, and during his 4th year, when everyone was, knocking Harry and being mean to him, he was just like, Harry, I believe you. And I would have been like, Diggory, you want to say that louder? Because you definitely are, whispering it so that people don't go against you. You sheeple! Bad Diggory. Diggory was a bad Hufflepuff. All other Hufflepuffs, choice. Diggory, bad Hufflepuff. Nope, I don't stand with it. And just for the Ravenclaws, no, Cho Chang. Remember her? Remember the one who sold everyone out? She was a Ravenclaw, not a Slytherin. I'm just now bashing on the houses. So, Gryffindor. So, with all that being said, let's start with Little. As I readjust myself, Little. In Harry Potter world, who is your favorite character? And why? In a world with an infinite amount of characters, who is your favorite character and why? I hope it's not one of the ones I was just bashing.
Okay.
I hope it's all the ones you bashed, and now she feels sad and is scrambling to pick someone else.
Okay, my favorite is obviously Crabbe and Goyle.
Obviously.
They're so hunky. How could you not love them? Just kidding.
Yeah.
I honestly don't have a favorite. I'm a sucker for a main character, so if I had to choose, it'd be Harry. Because how could you not like Harry? But that's the only reason. I don't know. I never really thought about
Your favorite
my
character.
favorite, because also, like you said, there's so many characters and there's so many good characters.
Mm-hmm.
Sirius Black is a great character too, but we also get no time with him.
Yeah.
So it's hard to so many of these great characters because we only get 2 seconds and then they go and die.
Go and die.
Yeah, honestly, same with Cedric. He was a great character, but half the time we were with him, he wasn't being great, and then he goes and dies.
I honestly hated that we got a lot of context of Cedric, not from him, from everyone else talking about him. But most of the time we met him, he was, trying to not make everyone hate him by supporting Harry, which I was like, stand up for Harry. What a butt. Or
he was trying to be the popular kid.
Yes, he was trying to be.
He suddenly got popular, and he was trying to keep that popularity.
Bruh, he totally was. He was the guy you don't like in the teen rom-com movie of the year. He'll redeem himself later on, but you're like, dude, you have a lot to learn. But also, he was always put in the context of his relationship with Cho Chang, which I also hated because I was like, all we ever saw was Cedric and Cho and how much they love each other. And I'm like, do they have any other personality traits? You keep telling me they have other personality traits. I'm like, well, I don't see it. Ugh. Anyways. Trix, who's your favorite character? And do you have one? Maybe that's switch those around.
I just wanted to say, it's fine because he died. So, Cedric died, so it's fine. He kind of got his comeuppance, which wasn't the point of him dying. But I think my favorite character is Hermione, because though she just, I mean, I usually love like main characters too. Like, but one, and I understand why he was moody, but Harry in the 5th book, I was just like, oh my gosh, you're so annoying. Like, I want to cry. You're so annoying. But and like, okay, so obviously Gryffindors are reckless because they just care about the saving people part, and sometimes they don't think things all the way through. So that's why Hermione's my favorite, because she really did try to think everything through as much as she possibly could, and help her 2 boys just not die. So she is my favorite because of that. And then if I had a second, it would actually be Ron, just because he was so scared.
Yeah. But
he went anyway for his friends. And I think, like, for me, like, that's bravery. Like, you are scared. Like, this isn't even about you, bruh. Yeah. Like, you know, it's about Harry, you know, it's like, he's not the main person. He knows he's not the main person. Like, but he still loved his friend so much and knew what was right in the end that he kept going. So, like, he would be my second favorite. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I was just going to say, my 2 favorites were, well, actually, all my favorites were the Golden Trio, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And of course, Harry, he was such a moody little butt, like, from book 4 onward, because he was a 14-year-old boy who saw the worst wizard, like, was tortured, had to bring back his friend's dead body, told everyone the Dark Lord was alive. No one believed him. He was like, remember when I was the boy who lived? Like, I don't even know what other qualifications I need at this point. And then, like, had all these emotions and was like, and y'all are failing me in school? Like, this is too much. I'm like, yeah, act out. You have every right. If there's anyone who had a right to do this, it's you. You're annoying, because all he did was...
It's super true. Because just like what you said, like, it's so odd to be like, at first he was so praised and he was held up on this pedestal and he didn't even want it. And then when it mattered, they were like, screw your pedestal!
Which there was so many lessons in that. It talked about, like, that's where the books in the second half of the series flipped. Because then we got really serious and we're like, when things go down, is this a metaphor for life? When things look dire, people will bury their head in the sand so they don't have to deal with the terrible things, even if people are dying. Sounds familiar?
Oh my god, but can we all shout out the best character, Hedwig? Because that poor bird was just there for Harry the whole time. She honestly did the most for Harry.
Honestly, okay, I want to get in a second about the most tragic deaths, because that was one of mine. So many people talk about Dobby, and I'm like, bruh, you are doing Hedwig dirty with that. But really quick, tagging on to both Little and Trix, the reason why I like the Golden Trio is because of that. I loved Harry because he's the main character. The story is about him. We got so much of his growth. There were times where he wasn't the best, and that was amazing, because you're not, like, great people aren't perfect. And Hermione, literally, the only reason Harry succeeded ever was because of Hermione. The amount of hard work she did, she's like, you guys, I wasn't born a wizard. I was born a muggle. And I'm a muggle-born witch. And so I have to learn this stuff from scratch. Like, nobody told me this. What? And, like, Harry has that same story, but then he also didn't do well in school. And she's like, I'm doing well. Do you understand how hard this is? It's hard getting good grades and having to prove herself constantly. And she also gave up her life with her parents in order to help Harry in the later books. And it is Ron. Ron was always my favorite. And I always hated when people are like, he's so cowardly. He was, like, emotional. Yeah, you forget. Ron was an actual best friend. He fought with Harry. No one fought with Harry. They discriminated against him, or they praised him. They never really connected with him. Ron connected with him. He was always at Harry's side. He was fighting with Harry. He was jealous of Harry. He loved Harry. He was everything a real brother, a real best friend was. And the reason why he was so scared in the later books is because Harry didn't have an immediate family. Hermione had given up hers. He had a loving, huge family. And the thought of losing or risking them, and then he still went with Harry, like, could you imagine? He lived his whole life, and he was like, I'm literally leaving my parents and my brothers and sister for you, and I'm terrified. And the problem is, if I go with you, it's just not going to be me who dies. It's going to be them who dies. And so that was like, that was so hard. You know what I mean? So that's why I love the Golden Trio. And you know what's sad? Because I really loved Mad-Eye Moody in book 4. He was such a great mentor. So that twist at the end broke me. The book 4 is the book that my binding of it is shattered because I read it so much. Also because there was a huge hiatus between book 4 and book 5, so I just kept reading book 4 over and over again. But I was like, I am so broken because everyone talks about how Sirius was a great godfather to Harry or how Remus was a good mentor. But Mad-Eye was actually a mentor to Harry. Like, he spent time with him. And then to find out that it was all a facade, a shenanigan to bring the Dark Lord back, you're like, no. That's why by book 5, I'm like, Harry, you talk in all caps, boy. You're angry. You're angry, and you have every right to be angry because that sucked. He was like, it literally was, bruh, I trusted you. Oh my God. That sucks. And then to meet the real Mad-Eye, knowing that he had created a connection with him, but it wasn't even the real Mad-Eye. Harry needs so much therapy because he wasn't processing any of that. Poor Nugget. So, speaking of now going on to deaths. Hedwig's death was all of a paragraph. That was not okay. Everyone was sad about Dobby. I'm sorry. People are going to hate me. I wasn't that sad about Dobby's death.
Okay, but also, Hedwig's, even in the movie, like, you barely even see it happen.
I know! It's like, whoa!
It's like back there, it's just like, whoosh, and she's just gone.
She was like, literally when he was being, like, incarcerated in book 2, she was his only relief. She was who he talked to, the only connection. That was his familiar, was Hedwig. And then she sacrificed herself for him, took a hit, bruh, and he was devastated. Harry was devastated. In the book, he was like, he was in pure shock, and then in the movies, everyone was like, oh my God, Bill Weasley and, Fleur Delacour are being Harry Potter, and Daniel Radcliffe is wearing a bra. And I'm like, you guys, Hedwig is dead.
I feel like everyone who didn't read the book, it will impact you more if you read the book.
See, but the little felt it, and she didn't read the book, so they just suck.
So, you guys have no souls. And... no souls.
No souls.
You're all Death Eaters. You are the ones who killed her! Oh my God, by the way, when you were saying in the beginning, Kayla, when you were saying Tiffany's a Hufflepuff, I was like, she's your Hedwig.
Oh
That's
no.
what I said, but I was muted. I was like, she's your Hedwig. And I was like, oh wait, but it's fine.
She's my Badger Mole. Badger Mole is Avatar. She's just a
Yeah,
badger.
okay. You're Earth Kingdom now? We're just gonna do a cross.
Everything.
We're just gonna do across everything. It's fine. Magic has no bounds.
It doesn't.
No bounds.
So, Trix, a death that really affected you. Because clearly Hedwig affected me a little. Little than I mean, there's a long list.
I know, that's why.
Obviously, Aragog.
I mean, a lot of them, I want to say, the first thing that comes off, the top of my head, it's not the thing that, impacted me the most, as in, I cried involved, but I feel like Harry's parents being dead, and I feel like that is obviously it is a big thing in the book, because, as it goes on, it's not, perfect. They weren't perfect people. You find out his dad was, a butt face.
Yeah.
And what does that do to you? So, I don't know. It's not, it is the most interesting death
Yeah.
Because of everything it happened, of everything it birthed with like the mom protecting you, like it's just so complicated, and I feel like that really him transitioning into adulthood and understanding everything with his parents, including for like Snape and stuff. And see, that's a thing too. Like that also made like Snape's death like even more impactful because of the other death and what that meant. So maybe like if I was going to answer your first question, Snape because of all that, but then it comes back to the parents and how they died and how they were a symbol for so much for multiple characters.
Yeah. Oh, that's great that it's multiple characters. It also just shows like could you imagine growing up knowing that your parents have passed away, and then at the age of 11 just keep, and then onward just keep hearing more and more of their story. It's so vast and encompassing, and that you were involved in it. Like that is a lot. It was really hard on Harry, and it's hard not to consider that's where his hero complex came from, because he literally made the biggest sacrifice, his family. He sacrificed his family without even meaning to. It's so sad. I mean, it's the same thing with Neville. We know Neville has the parallel life with Harry. He also sacrificed his parents because of that. Like that. Oh gosh. You know what? Dark Lord sucks. If you didn't know, cancel Harvey Weinstein and cancel Voldemort. Now, one of the most fun things to do in the wizarding world, is to kind of insert yourself in it and see how you would fare in there. So I always ask people, based off of your knowledge, if you were at Hogwarts, I got my letter when I was 23, so I was too old to go to school. But if you got your letter and you went to Hogwarts, what would be like your best subject and what would be your worst subject? I shall go first. My best subject will undoubtedly be the one that everybody hates, which is magic history of magic. Like, everyone hated that class. Everyone was like, oh my god, it's taught by a ghost. We have to do like 14 feet of scrolls for an essay. And I was Hermione. I was like, this is the most interesting thing, because I wouldn't have known anything about history, so I'd want to learn everything about history. That's where the Ravenclaw comes in. I would be obsessed. The class that I'd be the worst at, but I would love, whereas I would love it, but it would not love me back, would 100% be potions. Because I was like that with chemistry. I love chemistry. Chemistry did not love me back. Defense against the dark arts, I think I'd do great in. Why? Because I can't do that now. Charms, that like I'm attributing it to like school. Arithmancy, maybe. Potions, I'd be like, I can't wait to do this. Everything's wrong. I am Seamus Finnegan every day of my life for 7 years in potions. Which is sad, because the head of my house is the potions master. I'd be like, I am so sorry. I am disappointing you on so many levels. So, Little. Best subject, worst subject at Hogwarts.
I mean, same. Basically everything you said. Like, potions, I would like it. It would not like me. I was not good at science. I always hated history in school, so same. I would be good at dark arts. I would probably be on the Quidditch team since I'm like really sporty. Like most of my time in school, I was like just focused on dance, and it was basically like get good grades so I could do dance. It would be like the same, like get good grades so I could do Quidditch. So I would like try and everything, and I'd like pass everything, but I wouldn't be like super duper invested unless like it was like learning spells, obviously.
Yeah, I think you'd do good in care of magical creatures. You'd be the only one excited. Yeah. The only one excited for that class.
Yeah.
Everyone would be like, we're gonna die. And you'd be like, let's die, but with animals.
But I wouldn't feel like I would die because animals love me.
Yeah, that's true.
That wouldn't be an issue.
Well, see? And point taken. All right, Trickster. Best and worst subjects.
Worst, definitely, math. Anything with math, which makes me sad because then I feel like then potions will go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Which sucks because I want to do potions. But I'm like, no, it's just gonna be wrong. I did horrible in chemistry, so that sucks, and that would make me sad. The best, I think, I honestly would be like dark arts and defense against dark arts. Like, I don't know what else. Like, I maybe like, yeah, no, just that. I'm only going with that because I think that's it. But it's weird because like that's me as an adult, and like thinking me as a younger person, I don't actually know. I don't know what I would be good at. Muggle art. I'm going with Muggle art.
Oh yeah, that was one of them. It was the study of Muggle. Was it?
Yeah, it's like extracurriculars. I'm great at extracurriculars. So there you go. Young me, all good, great at extracurriculars. Not good at
the actual academics.
Not great at the academics.
So we got
that's fine with me.
We got the electives over here on Trix. We have the jock down here. Little is like the jock who keeps the grades, is like solid in school for the sport. I am 100% shooting for head girl. I was AP student all along, and I'm like, I am going prefect. I am battling Hermione Granger on all of this. She's got me in potions, but girl, you ain't good at, what was it? Oh, divination. I would do pretty well in divination. She was not good at divination, so that's where we'd get each other. We'd be fighting in that class because I can hang with Trelawney's crazy. She couldn't. So.
Oh, I would be in the marching band.
Oh, you'd be in the choir that held the toads
I would
and
be
sang?
in the choir and marching band. I would be those people. I'm just the people. I'm not playing the sports. I'm just singing and dancing and doing color guard over here.
You're part of the choir that sang with the toads. Like, when was that sign-up list? I would be prefect, and I would join the decorating committee that helped decorate the Yule Ball, and was like, I would definitely be teacher's pet to Professor Flitwick, because I feel like he'd be the easiest one to be teacher's pet to. I'd be like, Flitwick, you need help, bud? Write me a good recommendation out of school. So, I love that. Okay, now going on, as we get to the, wow, it's already 8:51. That was fast. Now, this Sunday is Battle of the Hogwarts Houses. We are throwing down. Let's show some house pride. It sucks because we got 2 Slytherins and a Gryffindor. So we're going to start with Trix. Trix. Okay. Discerning. Best thing about your house and fellow Gryffindors. Worst thing about your house and fellow Gryffindors. Go.
Yo, we're selfless and brave. And yo, we're reckless and brave. Like, reckless and brave is not a good combination. Selfless and brave is a great combination. But, like, the intersection of, like, horribleness is actually huge. Like, so I feel like our strength is also our weakness. But, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm about it. I'm about people, dude. I'm about saving people. Mm-hmm. It's cool. I'll risk my life. But I'll also be mad if as I'm dying, I just see, like, crappy people being crappy and not wearing their masks. I'd be like, oh, no!
Very righteous anger. And other corpsmen who are Gryffindors are Joseph and Rostin, I think.
Oh, Rostin's a Gryffindor?
Yeah. Oh, he's a hardcore Gryffindor.
Oh, yeah.
He's
no,
a hard.
Sense.
You guys
are...
Yeah.
Wait. But are they going to be there? This is
no,
my real
they're
question.
not. Oh, Joseph might. Might? Joseph might.
Okay, these are my feelings. Kayla, you can't play.
I'm probably not going to, because I'll probably just be giving commentary on the side.
You know how Kayla was like, Harry Potter was my life? I can attest to this!
Yeah.
Girl was like obsessed, like scarves, like wore all the things you definitely thought you were Gryffindor. Like growing up, like whole freaking bedroom decked out in like either literally the merch or like the colors. Like,
I painted.
You painted everything, and then like your bed was like the maroon with the gold.
Yeah, I turned my room into Gryffindor Tower. I legit turned it into Gryffindor Tower.
So Kayla can't play.
I can't play.
So.
I can't. There's also too many Slytherins, so I probably can't play. Little, best thing about Slytherin house, worst thing about Slytherin house.
I mean, stereotypical. We're ambitious. That's obviously our best quality. Worst, half of us are Death Eaters.
I mean, yeah. I attest. It's the ambition. It's also I feel like Slytherins can be very pragmatic. The worst thing I think, and this is by Slytherins as in Slytherins I know, because I feel like this, and I know us as Slytherins on court definitely are guilty of this, elitism. We suffer from severe elitism. We are so proud to be Slytherins. We are so proud.
Yes, but so are Gryffindors.
They are, but because our numbers are larger, we kind of eat everyone else in that sense. Because we're like, there's so many. Because every year we always go, how many Slytherins are there? There's usually more Slytherins than everyone else. And I'm like, that sentence alone, we need to, I hear it and I'm like, I'm still saying it. And you and I know, tone it down, Slytherin. Tone it down.
Because it's like, let's divide and conquer.
Yeah. It really is.
Oh, no.
Best thing about Hufflepuffs is it's not even the loyalty, it's the hard work. People forget that. People put Hufflepuffs, they're like, oh, they're just so snuggly and sweet, or they're like kind of crazy and insane. Hufflepuffs are hard workers. They literally don't talk to you because they're working so hard. That's why we didn't see a lot of them in the books, because they were off just doing what they needed to do. Like, people forgot about that. And the worst thing about Hufflepuffs is they're kind of like, I associate it a lot with the Zodiac. They're kind of like Libras. Well, they'll never really take a side. They'll be like, I understand everyone always. And you're like, bruh, you have to make a decision right now, because it's kind of like we just need to make, and it's not even that intense. It's just a decision. They're like, no, but I don't really want to get on anyone's bad side. And you're like, okay, loyalty to everyone always.
Have you guys seen Hufflepuff the musical?
No.
Oh, I don't know if it's on YouTube. You should find it's so funny.
I need to watch that.
So
Hufflepuffs
funny.
also came out because at first no one, when the books were coming out, no one wanted to be a Hufflepuff because they thought they were like the goobers of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one's
It's
like,
not like, oh, these suck. I'm like, it's a whole house, dude.
yeah, they're like, they're a bunch of losers. And you're like, no. Their common room was next to the kitchens. That's so convenient and nice. Where was Slytherins in the dungeons? And I was like, that's cool, bro.
That's where you belong.
It's so, and then
because half of you are Death Eaters.
half of us came from parents who were Death Eaters and like tried to like not acknowledge it. And it's like, it's okay if you're not, but like you can't just pretend that's okay. Because it's not like, they're And then Ravenclaws, so like wise, smart, intelligent. Of course, Ravenclaws, they just know a lot. The problem is with Ravenclaws, they have to make sure you know they're smart. Ravenclaws will always remind everyone that they're smart. And the rest of us are like, no one thinks you're not. We all know you're smart. And they're like, we're smart. And I'm like, yes, I know. Oh, Hufflepuffs on the team are Jo, Trini, Sonali, and Rio. Rio was so sure she was a Ravenclaw, which she can be because she has a really good book intelligence and kinetic intelligence, but she's 100% a Huffle. Like, there's so much Huffle in her. That the hard working, the loyalty, the indecisiveness, the creature comforts, the empathy, that's all Huffle. She's all Hufflepuff. Ravenclaws are more logistics. They're more statistics. Which is great, but Ravenclaws always have to remind you they're smart. And I'm like, no one's saying you're not. Like, literally everyone agrees. And even as you agree, they will still sit there and lecture you for another hour about how smart they are. And they're like, yeah, everything you're saying, 500%. What are we talking about? Liz. She's not like that.
No, but she's very smart.
But she is very smart and very legit. Liz, I think that's it. She's the only Ravenclaw.
The Aquarius.
The Aquarius, of course, is the outlier. is the Ravenclaw. So, house pride all around. House battling all around. We're going to go at it. So, again, if you want to join this Sunday, make sure you become a patron. join us and you can throw down with the rest of us. It's Harry Potter trivia. It's going to be mediated or mediated / conducted by Sonali. So she's not actually going to play. She's putting together the whole quiz and test. I would have done it, but I also, like last time I did a trivia test, I know random things, and it was really unfair because I was like pulling out weird. Do you remember that little? It was like weird stuff, and even I was like, no one would know.
I remember being so frustrated because I'm like, who is this? Like, I have to Google these things because it's just like random stuff that didn't really matter.
Again, the worst part of Slytherin was elitism. I was like, I know this, and I'm like,
oh my god,
no one even needs to know this. Like, you're just being a snob. That's what it was. I was being a snob, and so I would have been a snob with this. So that's why I'm not playing. If anything, I'm going to be there heckling all houses, including heckling Slytherins, because I know so much about Slytherins, again, elitism, that I can hit it where it hurts on Slytherins. So I'm just going to heckle everyone on Sunday. So if you want to join Hanji heckling everyone at the Battle of the Hogwarts houses, please.
Just be a troll.
I am going to be a troll. Other than that, we also have a couple announcements. We are still doing, if you haven't seen our amazing jackets, can you see this? Where is it? I'm going to put there. It's going to be right in the center. Bam! Look at my soulmate and Rostin rocking those AOT jackets. We are still doing our promotion with Fandomaniacs. If you've been on TikTok and you've seen our Demon Slayer jackets, so many people have been asking, where did you get that? Fandomaniacs-store.com. Their merch is so good. Use our promo code CORPS10, CORPS10 at checkout and you get 10% off your order. We also, of course, are still doing the coldest water. I just got my water bottle back because I left it at work. And I was sad because it was hydrate or dihydrate, and I definitely dihydrated a couple of times. So I was so happy that no one took it because it's a really nice water bottle. But you can still use that code. It's CORE, no 10. I mean 50-50 chance if you're going to get it right. CORE, CORPS, 10% off your order at checkout. We also have our merch store on our website. You think I'd have that website handy? I don't. It's not there. You can buy our merch at our website. And also, if you're interested, again, at the beginning of this, we were talking about all the controversy. And I say controversy, again, not because J.K. Rowling came out with transphobic content. And we all said no. Which, yeah, great. So if you want to support the LGBTQIA community, if you want to support the trans community, you can go to, where are they? It's here. I had it ready. Bruh, where'd you go? Oh. Here it is. It's here. I found it. No, not you. Shablam! Ah. Shablam! Ha ha ha! I got it. You can go to these websites. There is the trevorproject.org. That is the project that Daniel Radcliffe has supported for years. It is an amazing project. Check it out. It's universal. There's also mermaidsuk.org. That is, Emma Watson supports this. It is a UK-based community that promotes gender diversity amongst the youth. It's really cool if you want to check that out. Or if you're local, like us in Southern California, follow the LA LGBTQ. I think that's what it says, LGBTQ Center. Oh, no, LGBT Center. There's no Q. But they stand for LGBTQIA+. Check them out. We worked with them in the past before because, of course, LGBTQIA+ rights matter to us because humans matter. All humans matter, always. And we have to fight for the right to live. End of sentence. That's it. Fight for the right to live. So check them out. They're really awesome. If you guys know Brandon, a Korsman from way back when, he played Scar. He played Havoc in FMA.
Voldemort.
He was also Voldemort. Oh, so sad. He was a great sport being Voldemort.
Yes, he was.
But he used to work for LGBTQ Center, and we did a lot of work with them with CORE in the past, and so they're really awesome. They're a great community. So if you want to support like more at like Actively is the word. Check out these websites. There's also a bunch. If you have more, throw them down in the comments so that everyone can join in on, being great human beings. Okay? With all that being said, before we throw it down at the Battle of the Hogwarts houses, Trix, any fighting words you want to say to the other Hogwarts houses? Like, let's show some unabashed pride for Gryffindor house. Go for it. Go. I'll represent Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff for them, but
I'm not good at this, but it doesn't matter because we're the best. We want to help people, so screw all of you. That's it.
spoken like a true Gryffindor. Now, Little, on behalf of Slytherin House, any words you want to throw down?
We have power in numbers. There's more of us, which means we will be better.
We talked about how that's not good.
Oh, true. I mean, it's fine. We're going to win.
But
Doesn't matter.
it's still the truth. Now, on behalf of Hufflepuff, never underestimate the Hufflepuffs, because in my experience, they're just there to have a good time, and then they tend to win everything. So not only did they just have a good time, as opposed to everyone else, they also won. So, Hufflepuffs.
Yes, also Hufflepuffs are like randomly really competitive.
Yes, they are.
Like no reason, just out of nowhere, just competitive.
And it sucks because Gryffindors and Slytherins can be competitive, but people be like, you're being too much. Hufflepuffs can get away with it, and it's kind of not fair, because there's no reason why they get away with it. Like, why can't you just accept, I don't know. Ravenclaws, cool, quiet. You always look out for that one. If you don't look out, someone put it as, it was a meme on TikTok. Is that a meme? It's a trend on TikTok. They're like, in anime, don't worry about the character that's powering up. You look out for the character that's stretching, because it's usually one that's stretching that's going to mess you up. Ravenclaws are the ones that stretch, because they're smart enough to know that we can't just go into this cold. You gotta go in warmed up and ready to throw down. And that's what Ravenclaws do. Where Gryffindors are plowing through, Slytherins are like, we have all the power. Hufflepuffs are like, we work hard and we're just gonna have fun. Ravenclaws are like, give me 2 seconds. Let me stretch it out, warm it up, and I'm about to dominate. So, that was me throwing down on behalf of the other 2 houses. So again, Battle of the Hogwarts houses. It's going down. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for everyone to just trash talk each other with so much verve and for no reason get really embedded in their house, and then at the end of it just be like, oh, let's go to war. That's because that's what always happens. When you pit nerds against each other, there's bloodshed, y'all. There's about to be some bloodshed. So we'll see all the patrons and the other corpsmen this Sunday. What time? I don't know. What time is it at, Little? Do you know?
5
or something? Oh, just kidding.
It's 5.
5. Oh, you're close.
Corpsmen are meeting at 4:30 and starts at 5.
4:30 for me.
4:30
for us to be ready.
4:30 until when?
For the patrons.
And can people join late?
Yeah, people could join late. We didn't set an end time. I think it's whenever it kind of just ends. Maybe 2 hours tops.
We also have the patron Facebook group, so we'll for patrons who are coming in later, we'll let you guys know when we're starting to wind down and when it's closing out. So again, if you want to be a patron, join in, because then you can also just come in and watch. You can try Wizard Tournament this and just watch it. Yeah.
Be a lurker.
You know what? Side note, in the wizarding world, you would totally, Little, be like a professional Quidditch player. You'd be like Ginny Weasley. I think you'd be a professional Quidditch player.
Yep, 100%.
Trix, I think you'd kind of be working with Hermione with Spew and the organization and liberation of the working class of elves. And I would probably be Harry Potter's supervisor in the Auror department at the Ministry of Magic and getting really frustrated because he's like, I'm the chosen one. And I'm like, bruh, you need need to do your paperwork. Like, I don't care. You may be great out in the field, but can you just do your paperwork? Please, for the love of God, do your
Why
paperwork.
does everyone love him?
I'm like, why do you love? He never fills out his forms. You can't just go around throwing spells and not think you have to fill out forms. We know this. We are a government agency. Bruh. Anyways.
So bad. It's so real.
I just gave you guys, I'll probably do that with the patrons and with Corsman on Sunday. This was my life. Trixie can attest. This was
It
my
was very
life.
intense.
They were my imaginary friends. Harry, Ron, and Hermione were, okay, I'm going to out myself right now. We didn't have internet until I was like probably in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have internet. So I didn't, and even then we didn't get AOL until later. So everyone was on like AIM, Instant Messenger. I didn't have that. So I made a Word document where I was in a group chat with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and I would just group chat with myself.
Like low-key fanfic.
Yes, it was a fanfic before I knew what fanfics were. And I would take the time to change all of their fonts to represent their personality and their colors, and I knew what they were going to say. So that's why if Harry Potter was my life, it was my life. It was my sister's life. Fun thing is, me and my sister were just talking about this. My parents would always have to buy 2 of the books, and we would separate into our rooms and just hole up for a week reading the books. She read so much faster than me, so the only time we saw each other was for food breaks. We'd come downstairs, compare notes, check what chapters. Sometimes she would read out loud to me, but that's what we would do in the summer, because they always came out in summer times, because they were catered to kids and their school years. We'd go to the midnight, stay up for like, a week reading these books, and then discuss them. So, yeah.
Kayla,
Get on my level.
Imagine if you weren't a dancer growing up. Like, you would be
a nerd.
Well, no, you're already a nerd, but like you would be like you wouldn't leave your house. I feel like you would be you would be like unclean. Like you wouldn't shower. Like I don't think you would shower.
You
like,
would
your
be
hair would be greasy.
unclean. I am the unsullied. You are
You would be
unclean.
an isolated neat. You would still have a job, but you'd still be that typical neat, like never leaves the house, doesn't shower, just holed up in your room.
Yeah.
Greasy hair. The grease.
I would know so much and apply none of it. That's what I would. I would know so much, apply none of it. So it's a good thing. Dance saved my life, apparently. According to Trixie, dance saved my life.
But like, think about it though.
Yes.
Like, what would you have chosen? A young Kayla would have chosen to do with her life without like.
I could have been a rugby player. I could have been a rugby player. I could have been a rugby player.
No, you'd be gross with greasy hair in the corner, like reading more books.
We'll delve into that psychologically on another level, another day. Thank you all for joining us. This is Beyond the Northern Wall. Happens every Wednesday. I'm gonna get more and more. I'm bullying my coresmen to come in here and talk to me, because me talking to alone just ends up me bashing on Sasuke. That's not even a joke. That is literally every episode. It's me bashing on Sasuke. So
that's every day with Kayla.
That's every day.
Every day with Kayla.
I will find a way to work that into conversation. So thank these two for being here, because we stayed on task. We stayed on subject. I would be a NEET. Oh God, I'd be a gatekeeper NEET in the Naruto fandom. Anyways, let's call it out. Little, just because this is our team manager. She is one of our board members, for those who don't know. I'm going to have you call it out. Also, because I think Trix will panic. Yeah, she will panic. So call it out, Little.
Tomato on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Tomato! Thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next week. Peace out. A-Town down. Bum, 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 bum.